This story comes to us from ABC News. Now, I did the editorial on this story a couple years ago or a few years ago. It's referenced the fatal shooting of Sean Monterosa on June 2nd, 2020. That was during all those protests that were going on that summer. And somebody actually commented, one of the family members, I want to say the sister, I can't be sure, but somebody that was related to him commented on my video thanking me for doing that editorial. But what's going to happen now? Well, California Attorney General Rob Bonta will not seek criminal charges against the police officer who fatally shot Sean Monterosa outside a pharmacy in the San Francisco Bay Area amid national protests over the police killing of George Floyd. Now, the Vallejo police officer fatally shot the 22-year-old after responding to reports of suspects stealing from a pharmacy as peaceful protests and civil unrest swept across the country. Remember, it all started in Minnesota when they burned the police department down in Minneapolis. California Attorney General Rob Bonta found there was not enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Jarrett Ton, who was a detective with the Vallejo Police Department at the time of the shooting, did not act in self-defense or in defense of his partner officers. Now, if I recall, wasn't that the one where Sean Monterosa was on his knees and had his hands up and he got shot? Bonta said in a statement, Sean Monterosa's life mattered, and there is nothing that can make up for his death. His loss is and will continue to be felt by his family and the Bay Area community. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. His life mattered, and his loss will continue to be felt by the family. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Bonta added, my office remains committed to doing everything in our power to prevent these kinds of incidents from occurring and putting forward policy solutions to help ensure law enforcement are responsive to the needs of their communities. You said, we're doing everything in our power to prevent these kinds of incidents. You're never going to prevent them. It's been happening since Rodney King. Nothing's changed. Over 30 years, nothing's changed. Now, this is the one, where Ton fired a rifle 5 times through the windshield of his patrol pickup, hitting a kneeling Monterosa once in the head. Police said they initially thought Monterosa was carrying a handgun in his waistband, but they found a hammer in the pocket of the sweatshirt he was wearing. So he was on his knees, and they said, he's got something in his sweatshirt. Oh, man, that was close. He could have reached down and pulled that out of his sweatshirt. What is it? A hammer. If I had a hammer, Ton, I'd break your fingers for shooting that kid. Now, video released by the Vallejo Police Department a month after the shooting shows Ton firing from the back seat of the moving vehicle that was carrying 2 other officers. So he shot from the back seat and 2 cops were up front. Bonta found there was no destruction of evidence by the Vallejo Police Department and said that the officers who replaced the windshield were not involved in the shooting. They just went and replaced the windshield. The officers did not act with a criminal intent to suppress or destroy evidence when they had the windshield replaced and returned the vehicle to service, says Rob Bonta. Now, Michelle Monterosa, Sean Monterosa's sister, said she found Bonta's decision frustrating and disappointing. It's just really disappointing that we see people put their political careers ahead of actually doing what they need to do to bring justice to our loved ones. And I will say to Michelle Monterosa, no, it's not frustrating and disappointing. It's simply, to me, in my own mind, politically corrupt and horrific. That's beyond frustrating and disappointing. Beyond disappointing. There's a word I was looking for and it escapes me, so I say politically corrupted. Because I think you got it right when you say he put his political career ahead of actually doing what needs to be done. He wants to be voted back in as Attorney General. And if he brings charges on this cop because of his protests in 2020, it could cause him to be voted out. Am I right? He should be voted out anyway. I don't like Rob Bonta. I think he's one of the worst attorney generals that California's ever had. Now, Ton, the cop, was terminated last year after an independent third-party investigation determined he violated several departmental policies. Is that including firing through the windshield from the back seat? Including using deadly force that was not objectively reasonable, failing to de-escalate the situation, and failing to activate his body-worn camera in a timely manner. Ton's termination was overturned this year after an arbitrator found the deadly force he used was legally justified. And then he was reinstated in August of this year back to his job. And he'll probably get back pay at the expense of all the taxpayers. Yeah. But what gets me is they don't want to bring charges, but he violated several departmental policies, including using deadly force that was not objectively reasonable. Right then, he should have been charged. Right then, he should have been charged. But an arbitrator, probably from the union, got it all reversed. And then it talks about some other things that you could read here. I'll just read it. It's a couple paragraphs, not even that long. But the month after Monterosa's killing, then Police Chief Shawnee Williams started an independent investigation after two people in the department said officers had their badges bent to mark on-duty killings. I don't know, maybe. The department has had several controversial slayings by the police, including this one. Remember, Willie McCoy of Suisun City in February of 2019. Remember, McCoy was the one who fell asleep in the Taco Bell drive-thru, and the cops were trying to wake him up. I think he had a gun in his lap or something, and he woke up and had grabbed the gun because he didn't know what was going on, and they shot 55 shots, killing him in his car. And it was controversial. That's the Vallejo Police Department for you. And probably 22 other police departments across the nation. Because it's just ridiculous. I don't get it, man. And it's not that this cop Ton shot some guy who was shooting back at him or aiming a gun at him. The guy was on his knees in the road, and he shot through the windshield from the back seat of the patrol car.